Hey, good morning, everybody. Actually, good afternoon, and welcome to Pop Up Live. This is our official second episode, and I've got some music playing in the background here, so let me stop that. There we go. How is everyone? How's your week been? What's been happening since last week? If you're here, please type in the comments. This is an interactive show, and I am thrilled to be here. So, our topic for today is psychic versus medium. And we're going to talk about the differences and some of the similarities and where the two can meet. But before I get into that, I just want to come in, tell you a little bit about my week, where I've been coming from. Share, please comment. If you are watching on YouTube or you do not subscribe to my YouTube, please go to YouTube. It's at Jen Rose Medium. That's where I am. And please, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this live out, so we can bring it to as many people as possible. But yeah, I want to know how your week has been going. I want to make sure first, can everybody hear me? If you are actually watching live, can you just give me a thumbs up in the chat that my sound is coming through and I'm not just sitting here talking to myself? I always get paranoid about that. I have done a lot of webinars in my life and trainings on Zoom and things like that. And there is nothing worse than to get about 5 minutes into your presentation and realize that nobody can hear you. So I just want to make sure you can hear me. So yeah, post a comment. This is an interactive, this is us getting together. We're going to be talking about topics. I had mentioned last week that I wanted a special guest for this week. Hey, Tina, can you hear me okay, girly? Tina, thank you for being here and being a support. I love you so much. I want to, just make sure that it's all good. Everybody can hear me okay, which is awesome. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Mwah. I love you, Tina. So it's been a week. I really want to see how everybody's doing. There's been a lot going on in the country and in personal lives, and thank you, sweetheart. And I want everybody to tell me, how's it going for you? I've been kind of up and down a little bit, it happens. But last night was a new moon. And what does a new moon mean? What does it bring in for us? New beginnings, new energy, fresh starts. We get this opportunity to start over every single new moon. And I take that time to look at the last month, what's happened. And then I think about that. I set some intentions for what I want to see, what I want to do in the coming month. And it's just very helpful. So, tell me where you are. How are you doing? Type in the comments, please. Absolutely share. I would love to know. And see where we're going with this. See where we're going. But I'm really excited to be doing this on a weekly basis. And I realized I had said last week I'd hope to have a special guest this week. Unfortunately, that did not pan out. Sometimes that happens, but that's okay, because there are guests lined up. So we will have different guests, different topics. if there's something that you want to see, you tell me. Is there a topic you want me to cover? If there's something you want me to talk about, I am happy to do that. Full-blown stress and chaos. Oh, girl, I feel that. I feel that so deep in my soul. It's hard. Everybody's going through it right now in various ways. I know we all are. But one of the intentions that I set is that I want to be able to hold space for those who need it and to offer support for those who need it in any way that I can. I think that's really important right now, to be a safe space for people when they need it, and provide them with some distraction, with a little bit of laughter, maybe a few insights even. And that's what this is all about. That's what this one little hour a week is really about. And I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. And Tina, you know I love you. I am sending you so much love and so much energy, and I need to come visit you, and I am going to do that very, very soon, because I miss my beloved Valley. You know that. So just know that you're always in my prayers, sweetheart. Always in my prayers. I love you so much. So I want to get into a couple of other things coming up before we get into our topic. I do still have some classes coming up. I've got my free one coming up on the 20th of February, and that is Own Your Power, Setting Effective Intentions. Miss you tons too, sweetheart. Miss you tons too. And there are only like 4 spots left in that class. So if you are interested in it, if you are interested in learning how to actually use your own innate power to set intentions for yourself that actually work, please head over to Eventbrite or head over to my page and click on the events tab. Let me put my page in here, and you'll see everything that I have coming up. Hold on. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'll also set my little scroll here in just a moment. And yeah, we will, everything's on jenrosemedium.com, including if you can book with me. So if you want a private appointment, happy to work with you. If you are not sure that you want to work with a medium or an intuitive coach, send me a message. We will set aside time to either talk over Zoom or on the phone, so you can ask all of your questions and see if it's a right fit for you. So I just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, and also coming up February 15th, I cannot forget this. Tammy Christine, who is going to be on this show soon. I swear she is. She's a real person. You can go look her up. But Tammy Christine and I are doing an online gallery for Valentine's weekend, Connections of the Heart. Tickets are very affordable. You can find that event on my website as well. Just go to my website, click on events. Everything that I have coming up is there. And then finally on February 22nd, and I'm amazed I remember my schedule off the top of my head. And I haven't had enough coffee today, you can tell. But coming up is a class that I enjoy doing. and it is called Radiant Energy, and it is about auras. And I love teaching this class because we can learn so much about each other and about ourselves by learning to read and understand auras. And it's a fun class. It's incredibly reasonably priced. It is $22 for a ticket. Right now until February 8th, I am running a $5 special early bird. If you get your ticket before February 8th, it's $17. And this is a 3-hour course. So I had talked about with my education offerings, I want them to be affordable and as accessible as possible for people. So that's why I priced that way. But it's a class that I've done before under a different title, and I haven't done it in a while, and I've added some things to it. I added an extra hour because I discovered there was just so much to cover that, you know, the hour and a half I had initially had for it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So that's what I have coming up. There's going to be more stuff coming up. But yeah, please check those out. I would love to have you at one of my events. Like I said, if you want to book with me, I would love that too. I would love that too. But let's get into this. So, let's talk about the difference between psychics and mediums. First, I want to ask you a question, and if you are watching, and I do see that there are a few people watching, so please type in the comments and answer this question. Do you know the difference between a psychic and a medium, or do you think they are the same thing? Just, you can type same or different in the comments. I just want to see where everybody is with this before I get into the nuts and bolts of it. And while we are waiting for comments to come in, I am going to take a sip of my now cold coffee. My coffee mug says my husband got this for me on my 5-year anniversary of being sober, and it says, "Still sober, bitches." And I love this mug so much. I do. I love it. But yeah, please, if you have thoughts on this, if you're not sure, and it's totally okay, because most people don't know the difference between a psychic and a medium, and that's okay. Because a lot of people automatically assume when they are looking at someone who's offering mediumship that it's actually psychic, and they're really two different things. So I'm going to explain the two differences, then I'm going to explain a little bit about how it works. So if you are a psychic, so why do people go to a psychic? They want information about themselves, about their lives, maybe about their jobs or their relationships or something that's going on, right? So that's why you see a psychic. And what a psychic will do is they tap in to your energy. The psychic is reading your energy. They are gathering the information from your energy. So they'll be able to tell you, you know, where you currently are with things, maybe some things from your recent past. And then as they feel into it, they are going to be able to provide you with possible outcomes for your future. Now, I want to add a caveat here, because a lot of people will see a psychic. They will be told information. The information doesn't happen. Who do they blame? They blame the psychic. Well, that psychic was obviously wrong. That psychic didn't know what they were talking about. That's not how it works at all. We as human beings have free will, and our choices determine the outcomes that we'll have in the future. So if I'm seeing a client for a psychic reading, and I do both, I make sure that I'm very clear about that these things I am seeing as your possibilities for the future are just possibilities. But those possibilities are based on your choices because you have free will. And you could make a choice that completely takes that possibility out of play. So, most cases, it's not the psychic giving you misinformation or incorrect information. It is that you made a different choice, which changed your path. Makes sense? Everybody kind of understand that, where we are with it? Because it's something that we run into very commonly. And I will get people, and I've had this happen, especially if I do in-person events. Oh, Tina, that's beautiful. Yep. As the saying goes, you control your own destiny. And that is so true. You control your destiny. You control everything about your life. And while working with the universe, with energies, with spirits can help you on your path, it certainly absolutely does. And there is a lot of stuff at play there. Ultimately, all of the choices are yours. Ultimately, you're the one who's in control. So great point, Tina. Thank you. But as I was saying, so this happens when I do in-person events. There are shops, metaphysical shops I'll go into, and I'll be there for a day offering readings. And I offer both a psychic option or a mediumship option, or you can always book a combination of the two. But a lot of people will come in and they'll be like, I want a mediumship reading. And I'll be like, okay. Have you had one before? Well, no. Do you have loved ones in spirit that you wish to receive messages from? And they're like, what? No, I just want to know what's going to happen in my future. And I'm like, oh, you want a psychic reading? That's a psychic reading. So now let's talk about the mediumship side of it. Because mediumship, I do as well. As everybody knows, I am Genro's medium, and that is my preferred way to work. Although psychic it is great, and I do that too. But with mediumship, that is the medium, and we are tapping into spirit energy, divine source, whatever you want to call it. And then we are calling forth. So I have a client in front of me. We are calling forth the loved ones who may have messages for the client. So what is happening is their loved one on the other side is communicating to me the message that they want relayed to their loved one who's sitting in front of me. And that's how it works. And I just say what is being told to me. Now, I am an evidential medium, and there are a lot of evidential mediums out there. And what we do is we will ask, because I like to have the conversation with the spirits I'm talking to, because it's kind of rude if you don't. I mean, I do. I think it's rather rude if you're not talking to them. So, so I have a conversation and I will normally ask them, is there a piece of information that you can give to me that will confirm with your loved one that it is actually you I'm speaking with? And that's the evidential part. And it may be something that makes utterly no sense to me whatsoever. And it doesn't have to, because I'm just the relay. But then I give that to the loved one who's in front of me, and they're like, oh my God, that is my Aunt Mary, or that is whomever. That's my grandfather. Only he and I knew this. That's the beauty of it. And that's how I can deliver messages and provide, and every medium should do this, and provide a sense of comfort, a sense of hope, that yes, your loved one is still with you. They're just not in a physical form anymore. But I can guarantee you they're still there. They know what's going on with you. So that's the difference between psychic and mediumship. And all psychics are not mediums. It's true. All psychics are not mediums. And there are some fabulous psychics out there who don't do mediumship. That's not what they do. But as the saying goes, all mediums are also psychics. And I know that sounds like, well, what do you mean? Are you better than a psychic? No. It means that because of the abilities that I have innately, I can do both things. And I have worked to hone and sharpen and develop both skills, because both skills I find are really helpful when you're working with people. I actually, my favorite thing to do is my spiritual tune-up, which is a combination of psychic information and mediumship. Because sometimes clients really do need both, especially if they're in a place where they're struggling or they're encountering some difficulties. And me giving them possibilities and where they currently are and what could happen is helpful. But then it's also super helpful for them to hear from their loved one. Because like I said, your loved one knows what's happening. They know what's happening in your life. And sometimes they will come through with these wonderful nuggets of information and wisdom for their loved one that they may not have considered at all. And that helps them. So that's why it's kind of a tune-up to get you on that right path again, get you back on track. And that's really essentially the difference between the two of them. But they can do both, and a lot of us do both. So it's just, people get confused with it. They get confused with it. And I wanted to address that because it is something that I run into frequently. I know others who run into it very frequently. And I think it's helpful for you guys to know the difference. It is absolutely helpful to know the difference between the two. Do I have any questions from anybody? You guys have been quiet today, so I'm hoping that people catch it on the replay. I know that noontime isn't easy for everyone, but I wanted to pick a time. I'm hoping you're on a lunch break, or maybe you work from home and you can take a little time to pop in and join me. So But if there are any questions, please feel free, type them in the comments. Type them in the comments. But the other thing I kind of wanted to bring up with this, and now we're gonna change gears just a little bit, is there are mediums out there who they call themselves mediums, but actually they're psychics, because the information they're giving is coming from the energy they're reading. But the medium is kind of, or the psychic, I should say, is misinterpreting what they're receiving, and they believe they're receiving it from spirit. And they get a little confused and a little wonky. And that happens a lot when you haven't gone through formal training. And people think that you just instinctively know how to do this when you discover that these abilities are open for you. And that is not the case at all. Not the case at all. I had no idea what to do with them when it started, which is why I started researching, and then I started taking classes. But not everyone does that. Everyone is just like, oh my God, this is cool. I can do this. Let me go now charge people for it. And that's not the best way to work. So I do put that word of caution out there, is that if you are seeking a mediumship reading, make sure that it's actually mediumship. And how do you do that? Oh, you're going to hear me preach this a lot. You go and you research the person that you're going to work with. This is why I caution people to do their research first if you're going to book an appointment. If you are on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, watching these lives, there are a lot of mediums who will just go on and read. That's what they do. They try and build a client base that way. And people get really super impressed with it. And some of them are incredibly impressive. But some of them are giving very general information that can apply to 50 people who are watching them in the stream. But to those who do not know, they think that this is amazing and an amazing gift. And these are the folks that can do a lot of damage if they're working with folks one-on-one. I had this conversation. Monday night, I was on Paranormal Saloon with my friend Jay Hill. That is his podcast, his new one. And he's also a medium. And we were having this conversation about the kind of damage that can happen when you have someone who really hasn't developed their abilities working with people. And that's where things like ethics come into play, training comes into play. Because I have witnessed some pretty egregious things come across in some of these readings. Because some of the information you're getting, either through mediumship or even through psychic, can be incredibly sensitive and personal. And you need to understand how to relay that information appropriately. Is it even appropriate to relay it? And if you haven't thought about that because you're so excited that you can do this, and you haven't worked and taken the classes and studied with good mentors, you may not even realize the damage you can do. You may not even realize it. So it's just, it's something that I bring up and I talk about quite a bit, because I want to make sure that these wonderful people who are working on these wonderful abilities are also trained properly to work with the people they want to serve. Sometimes, and I'm going to give you an example of this, and I always start my readings out, especially my mediumship readings. I will let my client know that occasionally people come through who have messages for them, but if I am picking up someone that you as the client don't want to hear from, and it happens, you need to tell me that, and I will ask them to step away. And I've had that happen a few times where it was not a good relationship. Maybe there was some abuse involved. And my client, they're not ready. They're not ready to hear from them. They're not ready to hear whatever the message is. They're just not ready yet. And that's okay. But you have a great responsibility when you're working with people in this capacity to make sure that you're supporting them and you're not causing more harm than good. And I'll get off my soapbox on that. So, but I wanted to say that, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this. And I'm glad I did. I'm hoping that it is useful. I am hoping that people find it informative. And if nothing else, I hope it makes you think. And I hope it makes you want to do your research if you are either considering receiving a reading, or if you're someone who is considering training, and learning to open your abilities and work with them. You want to make sure that you're getting the proper training, that all of the bases are covered. And that includes things like dealing with the ethical conundrums that can come up in these readings. Because while I would love to say that every single reading is a sweet, lovely grandma coming through with messages of love, that's not the case sometimes. That's not the case. And I work with folks who've gone through a good bit of trauma. And that was never my intention, but that's how this path for me is turning out. So that's why I am so passionate about proper training, proper ethics. So, gosh, you guys are really quiet today. So another thing that I am going to be doing, speaking of readings, future shows, I would like to offer readings to my viewers. Now, I am going to do this a little differently. Now, what I've done in the past is I've just taken questions from the audience, done a quick, either a card or a quick psychic or very quick mediumship reading. What I would like to do is, if you are someone who is willing to join me on this show, and you will be on camera, it'll be fun, and you're willing to receive what I'll call a mini reading, so no more than like 5 to 7 minutes, then I would love to hear from you. I actually have a little online form that you can fill out that just gives me a little bit of information about how to contact you, things like that. So I'm putting that out there, and you'll see me posting more about this on my social media channels, because this is something I'm probably going to offer once or twice a month, where I will bring 1, maybe 2 people in on camera with me, and I will read for them. So what does everybody think about that? Good idea? Bad idea? Give me some feedback. All right. Well, I'm doing that. And then coming up this weekend, if you are local in Virginia and you're not too far from Central Virginia, I do want to plug this. It is the Hanover Tavern Paracon. And Hanover Tavern is a historical site in Hanover, Virginia. Beautiful place, originally built in 1733. The Paracon, all proceeds from it will go to support the tavern and their programs. They do a lot of education programs, especially for the school children in the local area, but it is to support them. And it's a really good cause. I am not presenting. I am not vending there. I am just going down there because it's a cool thing to do. It is run by really great people. It's a fabulous way to support a location that is they're doing good things in the community. They're preserving history and they're teaching history, and they offer a lot of different fun activities. So if you can come out to it, check it out. You can find their page on Facebook, Hanover Tavern Paracon. I believe tickets are still available. They're incredibly reasonably priced. But yeah, so I wanted to give a little plug to that event. And before we wrap today, and remember, I said I don't guarantee the length of these shows. They're going to go sometimes between 30 minutes all the way up to an hour. But I'm going to wrap for today. But I want to pull a card for the collective. And this is from the Guides of the Hidden Realms deck. Colette Baron Reed, I love her decks. And I am going to just pull a card with the intention of the highest and greatest good for those of you watching. And I like to do this because I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the support that you give me. And I just thank you. And I like doing this. And as long as you guys enjoy it, I'll keep coming back here every Thursday at noon to do these. I may take a break here and there. I do take vacations once in a while. All right. So let's see what we've got. I'm feeling the top card today. Interesting card. So this is called A Way Out of the Weeds. A clear way out, multitasking, getting organized. So this card is all about getting yourself back on track. We talked at the top of the hour about a lot of people feeling the stress, the chaos, all of it. This is about getting back on track and refocusing, and make sure that you're focusing on your priorities. And as I said, with the new moon comes new beginnings, new energy, and a chance to begin again. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of the energy. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself and that you are prioritizing what's important to you and that you're doing the things that you need to do. And I'm going to leave you with that today. I want to thank you for being here, supporting this, and I'll see you again next week. Mwah. Take care, everybody.